This is Mario Andretti, and you are listening to Below the Yellow Line.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Below the Yellow Line. He was just telling me this young driver is preparing for Laguna, pretty big race to be preparing for. Thank you so much for joining the show today, Seb. I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce yourself. No one knows you better than you, so go ahead, introduce yourself. Tell the world a little bit about yourself.
Hi, yeah, I'm Sebastian Priaulx, racing IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship in GTD Pro in Rexy, AO Racing, Porsche. So, this year's been going okay so far. Second at Daytona 24, and we're leading most of the Sebring 12 hours, but unfortunately we're a bit unlucky at the end, but it's been going well so far.
Well, before you were racing on those story tracks like Daytona, Sebring, Laguna Seca coming up here soon, you had to have a start in racing. What was your start in motorsports? When did you know you wanted to be a race car driver for a living?
I think obviously following my father around, I watched him race in World Touring cars at a young age. And then I did karting at the age of 8. And then I did sort of sports car racing very young on, like Janetta Juniors in the UK. So kind of went well there and just progressed now into like American racing, which I love. And, it's one of the best racing out here for sure.
You mentioned your dad there. What was that like, having that relationship, having a mentor like him to lean on and close by? Not a phone call away. He might be sitting right beside you on the couch. What is it like to have somebody like your father to lean on and rely on for racing advice?
I mean, it's great. Obviously he's kind of like my manager and he's my dad at the same time. So he's there just supporting me, but he leads me to it. But he's got so much experience in race cars and racing. So he's done like Le Mans 8-9 times. He's done it. So I'm just learning each time off him. But he's just helped me very much just in the beginning of my racing career and to this date now as well.
Is there any part of you that kind of feels numb when you go to a racetrack now? Because you grew up around it. You probably grew up going to Le Mans, hearing about your dad racing Le Mans. Is there any part of you when you go to these tracks now, it's like, oh, I've been there, done that? Or do you still get that excitement, those same butterflies every time you crank an engine or walk into a racetrack?
I think, racing is in my blood. I'm not now spectating, I'm racing. So it feels different, but every time I get in the race car, it gives me a buzz. It's a privileged place to be, and it's a lovely car that I'm driving at the moment, and just enjoying being out on the track. And these American racetracks are awesome, and it's nice to actually be able to fully, commit to a full year in IMSA again this year. So yeah, I'm really lucky.
What has been the biggest transition? You raced F4 for a little bit, were pretty successful there, had some wins. What's been the biggest transition coming over from that to America to racing sports cars in IMSA?
I think, I did 1 year Formula 4, which was good for my single-seater experience, slicks and wings. But, obviously now GD3 is pretty much a single-seater, really, with the downforce. Obviously not as quick, but it's similar. So, IMSA, I've loved racing in IMSA. Obviously did Porsche Carrera Cup, a couple of years ago, but I've been in the IMSA sort of paddock for a long time, and I just absolutely love the racing out there. It's, full restarts every hour, and it's just non-stop racing, and I just love that about it. And I think these tracks, like I mentioned before, Laguna Seca and Road America, these old school tracks which IndyCar go to, and also some NASCAR tracks as well, but it's just so much fun driving.
You mentioned before we started the show that you raced at Daytona, you raced at Sebring recently. Kind of take us through your experience there. You said you were pretty close, ran pretty good races, had a pretty fast car, just didn't pan out in the end. But kind of take us through your perspective of those historic events from the driver's seat.
Yeah, I mean, Daytona went really well. I qualified on pole position, and we didn't lead a lot of the race. Unfortunately, our car wasn't as quick as the other competitors, I would say, but we fought really well. AO gave us an amazing car, and the team pit stops were great, and the whole way through. So, hats off to them. That was helping us through. But my teammate Michael Christensen and Lauren Heinrich was proper warriors through that, and we finished second, and couldn't really do much more than that. So that's pretty much a win for us. And like I said, Sebring 12 hours was also a good one, but we just got unlucky with full course yellows, but led the whole race, and we were so close to that win. But that's racing, that's IMSA. So just focusing on the next one now, the sprint races that we've got upcoming next, and just to try and get some wins now.
You said you're focusing on the next race. That's a race car driver's mentality, right? You could be in the current race and still already be thinking about the next one. That's what the great ones do. What all goes into your preparation? How do you study and prepare and maybe physically train for upcoming races?
A lot of fitness training, gym work, cycling, and most importantly, sim racing as well. That's the most important one. But like Laguna, it's exactly the same as what it's like in the race car. So iRacing is pretty much where to be for that sort of stuff. And I'm racing Rexy at the moment on iRacing, and it's just lovely to be able to do that while being at home in England where I'm at now. So yeah, just nice to be able to do that. But I'm looking forward to Laguna. Just want to get a win there now.
It's funny when I talk to some older drivers and, whatever discipline they race in, they always find it funny that young drivers like you can use sim racing to the extent that you do. But how helpful is it for a young driver like yourself to be able and go out there, recreate exactly what Laguna's like, what Daytona's like, what Sebring's like? How helpful is it to have a tool like sim racing for your use whenever you got a big race coming up?
Yeah, it's very useful because you're not always possible to go on the track. We have got a test there actually, but it's very difficult to get time on track. So to have that sort of how can I explain it? Just have that opportunity to be able to do that sort of stuff on at home is just a godsend, really, because if you're going out there in free practice, you haven't got a lot of time to learn the track, and you've got to hand it over to my teammate, and you don't get a lot of time. So it's just good to have that in your back of your mind, sort of going over it in your head, sort of lines and just race craft stuff. And when you go out there, you've sort of done 20 laps, 30 laps already, in your mind. So yeah, it's really, really good.
You said it earlier, you still get the same adrenaline rush every time you step foot into a race car, every time you fire your engine. But is there a favorite thing about every race, a consistent thing that, reminds you why you chose this to be your profession in the first place every time you step foot inside a race car?
Yeah, I just think, national anthem, and you get in, at the start of the race and you have all these people watching you. We start up the lovely flat six engine and it's kind of one of those moments you pinch yourself. It's like I'm starting here at 12 Hours of Sebring, a dream race for me that I'd want to start my whole life. So I was able to start that race, and it's kind of those small things, well, they're not small, but they just add up here. So yeah, but I'm looking forward to this year and AO, my second year with AO racing and in Rexy as well, which has been a huge hit, really, to be honest. So I'm just really excited to work with Lauren this year and really, really push to get this, because Rexy hasn't won yet. So we need to start putting her on the front, or him on the front. So yeah.
Well, you mentioned Sebring. There's a dream race to start. I know this is probably going to make that list, but are there any races you have in your mind? These are the 2, 3 that I want to win. These are the photos in the scrapbook that I want to have for sure of me in victory lane when I'm done and retired.
Le Mans, Daytona, Sebring. I mean, those are the main ones. Obviously, Nürburgring 24, but for me, it's like Daytona and Le Mans. The ones I think everyone wants to win. So I've been close twice at Daytona. We also nearly had a podium at Le Mans in 2022, but just Le Mans chooses winners, so unfortunately didn't choose us that time. So but yeah, those are my main races to win, and I want to win them overall one day as well.
Well, as you say before Daytona, that's just racing. That's the nature of racing. But I think we're going to be hearing a lot about you. Probably going to be seeing a lot of those photos of you in victory lane for years to come. Thank you so much for joining the show. Before we let you go here, Seb, go ahead and tell us, maybe thank some sponsors and tell us for sure where we can see you on track next.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I can't thank AO Racing and especially Multimatic, who I drive for as well, for making this year possible. And you'll see me out in IMSA, Laguna Seca, next one up. So yeah, you'll support that 77 Rexy car, and we should be strong there. So looking forward to it.
Looking forward to seeing you towards the front of the pack. Seb, thank you so much for joining the show today, and we wish you the best of luck in all your racing ventures moving forward.
Thank you for having me. Cheers.